Hey guys, Sneaky Snake here, Brothers in Arms, World of Warships, and today's video we're going to take a look into the next installment in our Tactics and Strategy series, and this video unfortunately revolves around throwing a game away and snatching defeat from the jaws of victory. I'm playing in the Z-46, the Tier 9 German destroyer, and I'm divisioned up with my buddy Puddin, who's playing in the Saint Louis, the Tier 9 French heavy cruiser, and the Real Tugboat, playing in the Tashkent, the Tier 9 Soviet destroyer, and we're playing some domination here on the map Neighbors. So the last tactics and strategy video that I did revolved around snatching victory from the jaws of defeat, and with a couple of my APOC buddies we were able to turn a game around when we were down by over 400 points, and through the proper use of positioning correctly and utilizing our skill sets we were able to take a game against a very good enemy team and turn it around for a victory. However, unfortunately, this video is the antithesis to that one, and I'm going to run you through a really tough defeat that we suffered on this map where we get to a nice early lead, we get a nice cap advantage, everything's going good, and then I'm just going to talk to you about the anatomy of what happened, and I saw this coming during the middle portion of the game, and it's unfortunate that it transpired the way that it did. As many of you know, I am one of the best World of Warships players out there on the NA server, and even though I do value my statistics in ships, I also have a 70% above win rate. So I certainly do my fair share of taking care of business, and in a game like this that you're about to see, this is one of those crushing defeats that can have you get off of the game for the night or whatever, and it just ruins your psyche because you think that you've done everything possible to win a game, and sometimes, well, it's all for naught, all for nothing. So at the very beginning of the game, moving into Objective Bravo, I probably popped my smoke screen a little early here, but I am getting some shots downrange at the enemy Kiev, and I also launched some torpedoes down towards his smoke screen, and now I also activate my hydroacoustic search. Really quickly, for those of you that don't know anything about the Z-46, I do have a review of the ship on the channel. I will provide that in the description below for you guys that would like to check it out. This is a very powerful German destroyer. It has access, of course, to the hydroacoustic search, which is very good for being able to rush caps and take care of ships that are sitting in smoke screens. It also has a pretty good rate of fire on the guns, and it also has somewhat mediocre torpedoes that are accentuated by a very fast reload with a full torpedo build at 68 seconds. So they don't do much damage, but they have a decent range, and again, they reload very fast. You also have pretty amicable levels of stealth and maneuverability. The rudder is a little bad, but you also do come with 23,000 hit points. And this ship is very, very dangerous when you get on the caps. So, of course, at the beginning of the game, this is exactly where I need to be for my team. And, yeah, now at this point, I'm going to try to charge down that Kiev. You can see the last known positions of the Iowa and the Bismarck off to the northwest. And there's also the Tirpitz that's also off to the northwest as well. I feel pretty comfortable trying to push in and get this Kiev spotted. And there we go. The hydroacoustic picks him up at 4.5 kilometers. And now I am certainly going to mark him as a target. And you can see that all my friends that are way off my port side are going to be getting some shots in here any second now against this Tier 8 Soviet destroyer as well. And once we're able to get this kill on this guy, then I'll be able to get Objective Bravo with relative impunity. And our team has already captured Objective Alpha, as the enemy team has captured Objective Charlie. However, my friend in the Friedrich de Grosse was able to take care of the Kiev, so now at this point I am going to be able to capture the base as soon as I go undetected. Do have to dodge some shells here. All those battleships were taking some punts at me, and I have lost a little bit of hit points. Very lucky that that salvo there, probably from the Amagi, did not land on my ship. But at this point, as I go undetected, I am now going to be able to get this base and put our team ahead with a 2-to-1 cap advantage. So, with that being said, we are now going to take a look at the minimap right now. Alrighty guys, this is a picture of the minimap as of 16:18 left in the game. You can see that we have captured Objective Alpha, the enemy team has captured Charlie, and I am currently sitting in Bravo getting the cap right here. You can see the two big green lines indicated on your screen is the general course that my friendly team is going to take, and there is quite a host of friends back there to be able to take care of business. There's a NorCal, an Amagi, a Tirpitz, and a Friedrich de Grosse, as well as an Iowa. We have an Algerie and a Hipper, the Saint Louis, Puddin, the Tashkent, Tugboat, and a Kiev also off to the west. And that Fletcher over there, roughly on Echo 7, Foxtrot 7, was trying to delay the cap at Charlie. And of course, I'm in the middle of Bravo. Now, the yellow lines indicated on your screen are the likely avenues that I'm going to be able to launch torpedoes down to try and get some hits on those ships as they're moving in towards around Objective Charlie. You can see the shores and the turrets are both running away, which is a very, very good thing at this moment. And the enemy team is kind of circling around into the D line, D6 through 8, Charlie 6 through 8, and also that final line that is beneath the Amagi, and then it goes down in towards Echo 6, excuse me. They're going to try to push around there, but you can see the big island that is also in Echo 6. That is the key to this map. If you're able to take Alpha and Bravo, you can put the enemy in a situation where they're stuck back there, and then if you're able to flank around, you're going to be able to get that last cap and just herd them back there in a corner where there's not a lot of room to maneuver, and it shouldn't really be that difficult to secure the victory. So, with that being explained, we're going to get back to the gameplay. Okay, we got 32 seconds left here on the cap. You can see that the Iowa is continuing to move away. There's the enemy Iowa, an Amagi, and the Bismarck, which are moving into that location that I spoke of, D5, D6 area, whatnot. I got 20 seconds left. I'm also going to be able to get some blind shots here over the island, and I am not detected, again, because I put myself in that good position. One quick other thing about the Z46, the armor-piercing shells on these bad boys are no joke. They do 3,000 damage with a Citadel, and you can get some very solid penetration damage with them if you catch ships on the broadside. So it's a very, very powerful tool to have at your disposal. And you can see here, my friendly team is now starting to move in towards Objective Bravo. At this point, I was feeling very, very comfortable about the situation that we were in. Those enemy battleships that are right there are going to have, again, to force themselves through those narrow channels there if they want to get onto this cap. So right now there's no reason for us to be too awfully aggressive. We do also have a ship lead. It's 417 to 327. So again, there's no reason for us, and I'm just going to sit here in Objective Bravo and get some torpedoes down through that channel at the Bismarck that was moving more or less at full speed around that island over there. So again, there's no reason for me to go through those gaps. There's no reason for me to charge or try to get in position to utilize my guns on a clear line of sight against those guys. I'm just going to circle around here. And again, this is what the Z46 and, generally speaking, gunboat destroyers are supposed to do that have stealth. You get onto the caps and you stay here, and you don't let the enemy team get in there. And you can see that the Bismarck is turning away. So even though I'm not going to register a hit on this guy, I have successfully pushed him away from Objective Bravo. So this is a minor victory in and of itself. So it's 474 to 354. You can see that my team is continuing their push through Objective Alpha. And at this point in the game, what I would really like for them to do is to now separate into two groups, and one continue to push through their base to be able to get flanking shots on the enemy team. The Kiev manages to take out the Fletcher. And once more, with 14:10 left in the game, we're going to take a look at the minimap. Alrighty guys, this is the minimap as of 14:08. You can see the shores and the enemy turrets are continuing to move well away from our fleet. You can see that the Iowa and the Bismarck are kind of moseying around in Objective Charlie. The Amagi and the Iowa are also getting ready to make a turn about face and go towards the Objective Charlie cap. You can see that our team is continuing to push in towards Objective Bravo, but right here is where the problem actually starts to develop. The two green arrows that I indicated on the screen are what I would have wanted under perfect circumstances for my team to do. You send one group back to the right and you send one group back to the left. What you do not want to do in this situation is play into the enemy's hands and get all your ships somewhere inside Objective Bravo. The reason why is because then it kind of turns the table on you, and being too aggressive like that, if the enemy team realizes what you're doing and they're able to get and flank around you on both sides, then that's something that can be a very difficult situation. And playing Supremacy League and doing competitive World of Warships, it always seemed funny that the more aggressive team at the beginning of the game, they usually had the cap advantage, and then they would throw their positional advantages away by being way too aggressive and getting too close to the caps, and then the enemy team was able to successfully outflank them. And as you can see indicated on the minimap, it doesn't look like that's going to happen right now, but what you will see transpiring in the next few minutes is something to be dutifully noted. Alrighty guys, back to the gameplay here. It's 534 to 324. Unfortunately, my buddy Puddin took a pretty big salvo from that turpets that was well off over there. So unfortunately, he has kicked the bucket, but we still have the lead. And what's most important is that the enemy team has lost 2 of their destroyers. They've lost 2 of their cap contesters, and that's a very good thing. It's very difficult to be able to come back in a game when your destroyers die early in the game. So as you can see here, I am launching some torpedoes at the Amagi and the Iowa. I figured that they were going to continue to push around, and once again, this is my tactic at being able to keep them away. Now, another thing to note is that my concealment is 5.9 kilometers, so I am getting away from the corner of the island so I do not get detected by their ships. And I also wait for my smoke screen to come up. So again, they don't have any idea that I'm here. They know that there's a smoke screen there that's angrily shooting its gun, but of course these torpedoes were once again meant as a deterrent, and I am going to land one on the aft end of the Amagi and get a flooding, so very nice stuff right there. He's going to have to burn his damage control, and another torpedo slams into the rear end of the Iowa. So once again, my deterrence torpedoes doing their job, except this time I'm actually able to get some hits. And then, of course, my hydroacoustic was able to detect those torpedoes, probably from the Fletcher, since it's a quintuple launch. The Tashkent also appears right there as well. But again, those torpedoes, as a deterrence, were extremely effective in their job. So once again, pushing the enemy team away. They are hella bunched over there in that corner at Echo 7 and in that general area. So very nice right there. The Fletcher does appear, continuing to get some shots. But if you look at the minimap, you can see what my team is doing is the Iowa manages to take care of the Amagi. You can see, once again, that instead of flanking around and being able to get some side shots by going well to the west and to the east of Objective Bravo, pretty much the entire friendly team, that is moving in towards Objective Bravo. Now, you might be asking yourself, well, Sneaky, why are you staying in Bravo as well? Well, this is my darn job. There's no reason for me to put myself in a very bad position. Unfortunately, that Fletcher on 946 hit points pops up just as I shot, so I wasn't able to get some shots at him and potentially get the kill. You can see that my Tirpitz friend that is in Objective Bravo is pushing in very, very boldly right up to the corner of the island and is presenting himself a very juicy target to be able to get deleted potentially by torpedoes if that Fletcher decides to go on a last hurrah around the corner. It's 604 to 489, but you can see here where my trepidations began to get felt. This was leaving me with a very bad feeling in my chest. And again, you can see the Tirpitz is creeping his way up towards the corner, and I really don't know why. And of course, the enemy Fletcher certainly was anticipating that as well. You can see he gets detected. He's only 3.9 kilometers away. The Tirpitz is going to try to fire his rear turrets here, although they hit the island. Not good at all. His secondaries are not able to take care of business, and we lose a battleship for literally no reason whatsoever. I am going to be able to kill this Fletcher here somewhat shortly. Do not want to let that guy get away. The enemy team will be down to only one solitary destroyer as the shells fly over the island. There we go. I take care of that Tier 9 American destroyer. But again, things are not looking very good at this point, even though we got the kill. And you can see that my team is slowly losing hit points all around me. Once more, we're going to take a look at the minimap. Okay guys, so this is the most important screenshot to take away from this. So you can see that our entire team is pretty much in the vicinity of Objective Bravo. We've held Alpha for quite some time. We still have the lead points-wise. You can see that the green dotted lines that are indicated on the screen are, again, the two most likely passages that the enemy team would have to take to try to get on the objective. Now, again, they have lost 3 of their 4 destroyers. However, they do have a pretty nice advantage in heavy surface units. They have an Iowa, they still have the Amagi, actually they have a second Iowa as well. They have a Bismarck and a Tirpitz that's not spotted, and unfortunately we lost the Tirpitz and the Friedrich de Grosso there in pretty quick succession, so they outnumber us on the battleship front by quite a large number. And why that's important is because, well, from a competitive standpoint, they just have the hit points to be able to give away, and again, that's something that, well, you don't really think about it from the random battles perspective, but having the hit point advantage when you're trying to retake caps is massive, because if it's a bunch of destroyers that are trying to keep you away, well, of course, if they are unsuccessful with their torpedo attacks, a destroyer does not want to fight a battleship one-on-one. They really don't. Unless they're in the cover of smoke and they can surprise them, they do not want to do so. So you can see the red lines indicated. The enemy team now realizes that our friendlies have kind of herded themselves all the way into the objective, and I really don't know why my team did this. I probably could have been a little bit more vocal and said continue to have a passive push along the flanks. But now it's the enemy's turn to try to push out of the objective. And this right here is when Bravo is in a very bad predicament, at least on this map, because getting to the flanks and to the sides is something that, well, it's a standard procedure for trying to get back the caps and whatnot. But also, you know, we have the destroyer advantage, of course, but smoke only lasts for so long. we can only hide our ships for so long. And if they time their push right when the smoke goes out, then all chaos and hell will break loose, and we're going to be in a very sticky situation. Alrighty, the Bismarck is 10.6 kilometers away at this point. Some shells are flying in on him, and he does get taken care of by the North Carolina, so a very nice salvo right there by him. But once again, you can see here, the North Carolina is moving up. We still have the Iowa, who's on pretty good amount of hit points. The Hipper back there is also near full health as well. The Kiev is also near full health. But again, when you're dealing with battleships versus destroyers, even if you do have the sizable advantage, you need to make your torpedoes count, and you need to be able to whittle them down quickly before they get onto the cap. It's 656 to 518. I am still staying here at Objective Bravo. Once again, there's no reason for myself to push around, but you can see if you pay attention to the chat from here on out from time to time, there's something very interesting that goes down in it. And, well, the Friedrich Grosse that pushed in, he really gets salty and is blaming the destroyers for not pushing ahead and trying to get spots. Well, I really don't know what he's talking about, to be honest with you. And I'm not making this claim, with any bias. Honestly, objectively, I have no idea what he was complaining about. I've been in the objective at Bravo, and yet he's sitting there calling everybody worthless. Now, you need to tone all of that crap out while you're playing, and to be honest with you, I really wasn't paying attention to it. But again, if you look at the minimap, we're in a very bad situation because everybody is just balling up right here. I'm still looking for some torpedoes here. The Iowa is getting pushed away. There's the other one that's over there on 21,000 hit points is burning as well. But again, you can see in the chat, he's just going off. He is teeing off on everybody, especially the destroyers. But again, mistakes were made by other people, and I think that so far in this game, I have played it pretty decently up to this point. And again, I am not singling myself out without making any mistakes. Obviously, everybody makes mistakes, and it was just something that was really interesting to see in the chat after when I recorded the game again and read it all. You can see here the enemy team is still waiting for the push into our base, into Objective Bravo, that is. They're still waiting. They're probably trying to time it right. I do back up right into my friend in the Admiral Hipper, but once again, very big mistakes are being made right here because, again, you do not want to ball yourself up next to that island. I know I've said it a million times, but it's something that you're basically gifting the enemy team, and it was right about here that I realized that we were in a bad situation. Okay, guys, once more at the minimap. This is of 8:14 left in the game. You can see our team has continued to ball up inside of Objective Bravo, and all of the red lines indicated on the screen are the courses that the enemy ships are going to set and be able to surround us here. Again, it is a common thing where you see people try to use that island to hug it at Objective Bravo to keep themselves safe, but if you ball up right there, again, all of those red lines, they're just able to go through all of these different avenues of approach and get all of the flanking shots that they need to be able to kill you. Unfortunately, the North Carolina and the Iowa have been hurt quite considerably, so again, they do have that hit point advantage, and it really is important, again, when you're trying to push into a cap. We still have the destroyer advantage, of course, but there is an enemy, Baltimore, that is making his way into our cap as well. So we have 4 DDs, but of course, all he has to do is hit that radar, and it will render all the smoke a moot. So it's just not looking good right here, and you can just see how once a promising game and one that we really should win has now devolved into a situation that is looking very, very grim. So with that being said, this is the last minimap that I will show you. Let's see how the game finishes. 8:12 left in the game, 797 to 587. We still have a nice points lead, and each side has lost 4 ships apiece. Make that 5 now for our team, as my buddy Tugboat gets taken out by the Charles Martel. So it's 767 to 626 now. But again, you can see the Algerie, the Hipper, and the Kiev. They are in the worst possible position. And unfortunately, our Iowa is about ready to kick the bucket as well, providing a wonderful broadside to all those battleships that were over there. I have no idea. Even with the armor changes, the Iowa is still flimsy as all hell, and he does get taken out. So now the enemy team has a 8-ship to 6 advantage. And once again, you can see that they still have 4 of their battleships on the board. The Fletcher that's over there, less than 2,000 hit points. The Baltimore is closing in somewhat on his position, and now at this point I want to get as far away from the Bravo cap as possible. Again, that 5.9 concealment, keep it so that if a ship does round the corner, I am going to be able to spot him as he is doing so. I'm also having a decent game with 53,000 damage and 1 ship destroyed. But again, this is the situation that is just not looking good at all, and here it is. And you can also see in the chat, I put out how to throw 101. I, again, recognized this very early on. So at this point, I am now just edging myself out of the Bravo cap. I am getting ready to launch some torpedoes down into this narrow channel. The only thing that we can hope for now is just to kill enemy ships. But I really don't know how this is going to happen. The Tirpitz takes care of the North Carolina, so we now have no battleships left over whatsoever. Launching my torpedoes downrange at the enemy Amagi. We are now actually losing the game 755 to 757. Still have the 2 caps. You can see the Kiev launched his torpedoes, but the Amagi playing very smartly slowed down, and all of them are going to miss. I am now giving my position away and shooting my rear 2 turrets with some high explosive, trying to get some fires. Once again, if you pay attention to chat, it is quite the shit show that's going on there, to put it lightly. Getting some more shots here at the Amagi. I will be able to land 1 torpedo, it does look like, and maybe another one over there on the Charles Martel. There we go. I do manage to get a flooding on the Amagi, so that's very nice, and the other torpedo does slam into that French heavy cruiser. So I'm up to about 78,000 points of damage, but you can see all those guys that were hiding behind the island with the smoke out, and there's nothing that they can do about it, and they are just getting absolutely ripped apart. The Algerie dies, the Amagi massively deletes the Kiev, and now that Admiral Hipper is absolutely screwed. And what was once a very nice game has all of a sudden turned into a complete and utter disaster. It's 702 to 858. The enemy team is now on objective Bravo, so we're not getting the points for that. I'm trying to do everything that I can to get kills right here, but again, that Hipper is going to die any second now, and I am continuing to shoot at the Charles Martel, and I do light him on fire, so I will get the kill on the Tier 8 French heavy cruiser, pick up my second one of the game, and now I'm launching some torpedoes here at the enemy Amagi. The Hipper just dies right there from the enemy Iowa, so now we're in a 2 versus 7 situation, and in a span of about 2 minutes, they were able to just push into Bravo and just obliterate everybody. And again, that's what happens when you ball up. It happens so consistently that it's really not even funny. And at this point in the game, I was just like, well, just going to farm some damage here. It's a lost cause. Getting some very nice armor-piercing salvos there on the enemy Amagi, though. Both of the last 2 over 4K. That one, 3,500. You can see the power of this AP. Another over 3K salvo right there. More shells flying in, and yet again, 3,600 points of damage. But this game has been long gone now, and that is the whole point of this replay. I was able to identify what the enemy team was going to do, but unfortunately, it's a random battle at the end of the day. And there's 11 other, potentially 11 other, teammates that you have to take into consideration on what their mindset is, what they might do. And right there, I don't understand what happened. I, again, could have probably been a little bit more vocal in the chat saying, hey guys, we can't ball up here. Got to take that leadership role. But then again, some people will look at the chat when somebody's like, hey, can you help me out? Or can you lay a smoke? And they're like, hey man, screw off. Let me play the game my way or whatever. So, yeah, this was just a very tough loss. And we were, Putin and I, and we were having some pretty good games on the night. Or, yeah, to be honest with you, we were having some pretty good games, a lot of good ones, and this was a very painful defeat. And was it inevitable? Well, that's certainly up for debate. Could I have done more? Well, that's also up for debate as well, but again, how to throw a game away, and you can see in all chat right there, I was certainly steaming over this one. So anyway, I'm going to stop rambling on, and we're going to take a look at the post-battle results. Alrighty guys, 400,000 credits received, just over 5,000 total experience on this defeat, 123,000 points of damage done. I sank 2 enemy ships, and I managed to get that solo base cap, of course. Taking a look at the team score, 1,379 base EXP, a very solid number to have in a defeat. And my buddy Tugboat coming in 2nd place with 1,103 of his own, and the Kiev in 3rd place with 851. And the only reason that I mention this is because of that guy in the Freddy saying that the destroyers were useless, were not spotting, and need to go play battleships or something like that. Well, I'm sorry, buddy, but yeah, that was kind of your guys' fault. And you know what? If I get some flack for saying that, well, I'm being brutally honest with you guys here. This was a game that we had no business losing. It was a game against an inferior enemy team that was able to recognize the mistake, however. They were able to recognize the mistake, and then they pushed in and took care of business. So kudos to them for realizing the situation that we put ourselves in. And again, I loosely say we because I felt that I did my job in Objective Bravo and was just let down slightly by some questionable team play. But again, you can't win them all in World of Warships. And I just hope that by being able to detailed making a detailed analysis of this crushing defeat. I hope you guys are able to look at your defeats as well, see what you could have potentially done better, and also recognize what happened with your team, so you're going to be able to mitigate those losses in the future. So with that being said, the Sneaky Snake here for Brothers in Arms World of Warships signing off. As always, please consider giving the video a like, commenting on it, or subscribing to the channel. All of it is very much appreciated. And with that being said, guys and gals, have a great day.